Hibachi steak, signature sushi, teriyaki chicken. Come on out to Ikaban Japanese Steakhouse.
Conveniently located in the Center Stage Shopping Center on Memorial Boulevard. A Springfield city official is calling for an investigation after 8 minutes of a videotape recording of a city meeting just simply vanished. The missing segment has one city official calling for an investigation. The city of Springfield uses two separate recording devices to capture its meetings. One, a videotape recording, and the other, a simple audio tape. The Springfield city officials contend that the audio recording of their meetings meets legal requirements. However, the videotaping of the meetings is done as a courtesy. Therefore, they are breaking no laws when they edit videos before they're broadcast out to Channel 3 or their YouTube channel. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us today, Mr. Sneed. How did you first become aware that the videotape for the city meeting had been altered?
I received a phone call from someone who was aware of this situation.
Was it an official notification?
No, it was not.
Were you surprised?
I was not surprised having learned of this incident.
Why?
I suspect it has happened in the past.
Well, the city has admitted that this is the second time, so they're admitting to 2 times altering the tapes. Do you allege there are other incidences?
I was not made aware of either of the 2 times that you speak of that they admit to. I only know about this incident from a phone call from someone that was aware of the situation. I do suspect it has happened in the past.
Is that something you can prove?
With enough man hours and time, it probably could, but I don't have resources that search that many hours of video.
What do you think is a bigger issue? The fact that they edited the tape or the content itself?
The fact that they edited the tape, I believe, is the bigger issue. I think they do not have no one at City Hall has the authority to do that. And that's just part of the arrogance of, I believe, the city manager having had that position for the number of years that he has.
Now, you've apparently initiated some kind of inquiry.
I instructed the city manager to add to the agenda at our November meeting to begin an inquiry. He initially refused to add that. I instructed him to follow those orders and add it. He again refused to add it to the agenda. Ultimately had to get the city attorney involved for him to do this.
Why do you think he resisted?
Well, not only was there an attempt to filter what the public sees, there was an attempt by the city manager to also filter what elected officials put on the agenda for us to discuss.
The city alleges that they're under no obligation to provide an intact tape because they aren't required by law to provide the videotape, only the audio recording, so that allows them to edit the video. I believe, if I understand their position. Do you agree with that?
No, I do not agree that that may be the law, but that's just not ethical.
So the only way to see the unedited portion of this meeting is to submit a records request, and then you could hear the audio tape, but the video portion is completely gone. Is that right?
I have been told that the video portion is gone, and I am going to pursue that as destruction of city property.
So ultimately, what do you hope to accomplish here?
The ultimate goal is to make sure this does not happen again. It may be a meat grinder trying to get to that point and to find out who was involved. Was there any political pressure? Was there any wink or nod from anyone politically to provide cover in case the crap hit the fan, so to speak? But I intend to get to the bottom of it in all aspects.
Were you contacted by anyone from the city in relation to the portion of the video that was removed?
I was contacted by the city manager, Paul Nutting, the next morning. The phone call, he apologized for his what he had to say the night before at the meeting. He also indicated that he had apologized to Clay Sneed, and he also indicated that he was going to delete the portion of the video where he was speaking there concerning what Clay had to say.
What was your reaction?
My reaction was more focused on the apology. I didn't really focus on what he said about deleting that portion of the video. In hindsight, I wish I would have told him I thought that was a bad idea, because I do think it was.
Why?
Because the perception of the public is that they're viewing the entire meeting, even though that's not the official record. But I think that if we present something as a meeting, it should be an entire meeting, or we should put a disclaimer on it, letting them know that that a portion had been deleted for whatever reason.
Smokey, of course, did try to locate the missing video footage for you. We started with an official records request to the city of Springfield for the missing footage. We received the following form later indicating that no such document exists. We then reached out to the videographer contracted by the city. He indicated that the only copy of the video was handed off to the editor that night after the meeting. The editor told us that he did not have a backup copy of the original footage, and the drive used to transport the video from the videographer to the editor was also wiped clean. With another written records request to the city, we were able to obtain a low-quality audio recording of the missing segment. We have done our best to piece it back together for you. The following is the 8-minute missing segment in its entirety.
I'm just concerned about this board as a whole voting for too many things without appropriating new money for it. It's nice to do things, but when you appropriate things and you don't add money, you're taking the money from other things. And that's the problem.
I will correct you that at least 4 or 5 of us voted to increase the taxes to pay. We pay in our way. We're not adding to the debt like the federal government. Mr. Head?
No additional comment.
All right. All I want to say.
Well, I'd like to comment, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Go right
I haven't seen the review or anything, and I'll answer Mr. Sneed's question directly. Most people don't know that I came from a very rapidly growing city in Houston, outside of Houston. It was smaller than Springfield is now, and it was 40,000 when I left. It's 95,000 people now. It's going to be 150,000. And the reason it's going to be that because a bunch of young people, young staff, my staff, laid a foundation for that community that allowed it to grow. And let me tell you something, 19 years later, they've had 12 different people do my job. 12. The average city manager, it doesn't last 2 years, and he's gone. Yet that city continues to grow because of the foundation. You were too interested in getting a warm body when you interviewed me. As a matter of fact, the people that were going to look at this and look at all the, said, you'll never get him. He'll never come here. This doesn't match this situation. I never needed this job. I had a dozen offers to go. The week I told Mayor Fisher that I was going to take this job, I was going to probably get hired in a bigger city in Ohio, in the middle of the sticks. I wanted this job. I didn't need the job. I wanted this job because it was the one available to me that was near a large city. That's what I do. Take little cities and make them mid-sized cities. That's my expertise. And you never even picked up the phone and talked to all the developers I've worked with, all the engineers I've worked with, all the elected officials I've worked with. Had nothing but positive things to say. And when you came in and you interviewed me, and Mr. Mason, you weren't there, but the others were, and I asked about growth, oh, everybody's head went up and down. Oh, are you going to do the things required to put the structure in to encourage growth? Oh, yeah, those heads went up and down. But when it was time to reach for a higher standard and do the things that everybody else was doing, no, let's listen to half a dozen people and do what they want, and then let the community suffer. Just look at the mobile homes everywhere. Look at all the nasty stuff out there. You know why? You had regulations, but it was too hard to enforce them. And now look what you've got. The thing is, you hired somebody, you should have understood who you were hiring. You hired a coach, a teacher, who is going to get you to another level, who is trying to get the best out of you. And the reason you don't have growth, Mr. Sneed, is because you didn't pay attention to the people that were going to get you in a position to do that. And so you listened to these people, and you built houses on roads that weren't paved, and got all that bad feedback. We're out here, it's unbelievable to see these people shocked at the crime. Are you kidding me? When I got here, you wouldn't even drive down Richard Street. I drove it every day. No one put a gun in my head. And I went down and made sure that everything was cleaned up. I ordered people, not in my city, we are not going to have it. because it's a higher standard. Other cities don't let driveways be unpaved. They put sidewalks in, they do things. It took 6 to 7 years for me to even have you make elementary changes in the subdivision regulations to keep you competitive. And I would just wrap up by saying, it would serve you well to read my employment application and my resume and my first letter to this board, because I write a letter every year in the budget. 7 to 12, 14, 15 pages now, every year explaining the budget, and you can see where I started from day one, what I wanted to do, and I explained to you, you were behind. You were a poster child for urban decay, and you were behind. And it was explained straightforward. So it's nice to do better than where we were, but the fact is you're in competition. I made it very clear. I made it very clear when you hired me, you're going to have to compete with these other cities. It's not what we do it this way in Springfield. Really? I could have never figured that out. We're up here for a higher standard. And I'll tell you what, if you question anything me and my staff have to do, you should talk to another city and see that we're just enforcing minimum standards. They'd have no problem with it. But you got to get to TML. You got to get to the National League of Cities. You got to talk to cities in the area and find out what they're doing, why they're winning and we're losing. Now, I am not, if you want mediocrity, let me tell you, let's just end this relationship tonight, because I'm tired of it. I will not accept mediocrity in a city that I manage. And you got to start telling these people, we did what you wanted, and this is what we got. Now let's start doing what I wanted and see where we go.
Mr. Mayor, I think we've said enough. I'll let you speak, Mr. Steve. You've stated yours, and he's stated his. Mr. Nutting, I think you were preaching to the choir in some cases.
In some cases.
Well, I have to make a comment, Mr. Mayor. I have to make a comment, because
I wasn't in on that. Who was?
I was in on.
You and Willie were here during the.
I was in on. I have to make this comment. Yes, I knew how good you were, because when we mentioned getting you, okay, I'm from Texas, so I ran an investigation. The city manager in Galveston was related to some of my people from my area. So I know I could. I agree. Your first recommendation, understand me, was just what you said. It hadn't been you. It's been aldermen fighting against you, good old boys fighting against you, understand me? You see, you've always wanted to take it higher. See? So, yeah, I understand. And like I said, it's a few things I should have listened to you, okay? Okay, capacity fees and stuff. You know, you brought that in. We didn't listen because we tried to be easy on our developers and stuff. So, you know, the fight is not you. I thank you for doing what you're doing. We need to listen, understand me, because I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it. We're 30 miles north of Nashville, Tennessee. We can't continue rolling up the sidewalks. We have to accept urban change, and I end on that.
All right, I'm going to move. We've got two items to still consider. One was the presentation of the report.
Well, there you have it, Robertson County. Do you agree with the city's decision to edit the videotape? Let us know in comments below. This has been Jim Ball reporting for Smoky Barn News in Springfield. The Robertson County Funeral Home has been serving families for a quarter century. When it's time to celebrate and remember, to honor in loving memory, the Robertson County Funeral Home.